excited. Something's going to happen. Definitely is going to be good. We have guests today. We have the Gulfport Swamp Opera. I'm not sure if it's an opera or an opry. We'll have to ask about that later. And we have Dan. Oh, we have Duke coming in. Yay! Yay! Dan and Caroline Duvoe coming to speak about art, abstract art for autism. Yay! We have carroway&rose, a PR firm. They're here to talk to us about their PR firm and a lovely nonprofit arm that they're launching. There is the Laura Shepard Show. There's me. There's today I want to give something away. See this plant right here in the front? It's one of these vines, and I want somebody that really wants it to have it. So who wants this vine? It's going to be a huge, dramatic vine. Anybody online or out there? This vine needs a new home.
What is that called?
It's a bleeding heart. I call it a bleeding heart.
Does it have a smell?
I don't know whether it has a smell. Here, try. Smell. It's not so much known for spelling.
Nobody beats us to it.
Okay, good. So if everybody online, now's your chance to, type in, give me a reason why you should have it. Otherwise, we're sending it home to Larry. See what I mean? Like, good things are already happening. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we do. Thank you for singing along. That's right. Oh yeah, well things will change and leaves will fall and it will rain. Transformed before your eyes. No time for chasing why. Oh, you never know just how life is gonna go. You put up your boat and roll, roll, roll. Jump in your boat and roll, roll, roll. All right, everybody out there in podcast world where you could be listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, ready? Everybody ready to sing along? Live audience, let's hear you loud and clear. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. 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 We're so glad that you all could make it here to the show. I am just pleased to be able to invite Larry and Maureen up to the stage. Please make your way up to the stage. Larry and Maureen are often hosting musical events, so it's good for me. Look at that 3-point turn. Go home. It's really good for me to be able to host you all for a change. Thank you. Maureen.
We are delighted.
Maureen, how long have you been playing?
Ukulele, probably 10 years or so.
10 years or so.
And I'm going to learn it one of these days, too.
Here, can I give you a hand with something? Over here. Ooh. Here, I'm putting this one down.
You take the light one.
Okay, I'll take the light one. We got Larry coming in. What do you call that one? Is that a squeeze box? Is that a...
This is a button accordion.
A button accordion. Do we need to come in, scoot in a little bit? We're going to scoot that way.
We can scoot.
We're all full of you.
We're tight.
Is this camera rolling? I don't even know if that camera's rolling.
but I don't have my glasses on either.
Oh, lots of things to check into all the time around here. We need a tech person. So if you're the tech person out there. When did you start playing?
Probably not yet, but some people would say. But I guess when I was in college, when I was about ready to become a professional hippie, I learned my 3 chords on a guitar.
There you go.
And then I dropped it and went into the School of Hard Knocks for 20 or something years, and then bumped into Cajun music and said, "Where has this been all my life?" And somebody said, "You should get an accordion." And I said, "Well, why not? I don't know any music." And he said, "That's perfect. Accordion players are not musicians." So that was my answer. And then
Why are accordion players not musicians?
You want me to?
Well, I know there's jokes about, like, what's 100 accordions in the bottom of the river called a good start.
A good start, along with the banjos, yes, if you want to.
And did you all meet as musicians?
Nope, as dancers.
As dancers, contra dancers.
And so how long was it between the time you first danced that you first played music?
Maybe a year, just back porching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sitting on the back porch here and say, "Let's see what we can do."
And our first band, probably 5 more years. Yeah, something like that. Playing old time and contra dance music, and then we were introduced to playing Cajun music, and we didn't go back to contra dance music. So
No, well, we're gonna get some Cajun music before it's all over. But I know that there's actually a song that you have written.
Mm-hmm.
At least one. We got at least one song so far.
all right.
And can you give me a little background on this song?
Sure. I think if you're like us and you pick up stray dogs all over the place, most of them have not perfect traits, but you say, okay, well, they're nice dog people. But finally, the universe sends you the perfect dog. She does everything right. And this song I started writing when that little dog came into our lives. And when she passed away at about 11 or 12, I figured it was time to finish writing that song for her. So this is Lula's song.
Oh.
The chorus is very simple.
It does have a chorus that repeats. After you hear it the first time, sing along when it comes around.
Once there was a little black dog lost without a home. We took her in, she stole our hearts and soon made us her own.
Chorus.
Hey, hey, little black dog, sweet as she can be. I got me a little black dog, a little black dog got me. And when we go out for a walk where she could run free, she'd chase those squirrels with a hop and a twirl and run right up a tree.
Chorus.
Hey, hey, little black dog, sweet as she can be. I got me a little black dog, a little black dog got me. She liked to greet her friends and ours, make them feel at home. And those that did not like her, she simply left alone.
Chorus.
Hey, hey, little black dog, sweet as she can be. I got me a little black dog, a little black dog got me. And when we play our music, sitting round a ring, she'd lie right in the middle and listen while we sing. Hey, hey, little black dog, sweet as she can be. I got me a little black dog, a little black dog got me. Singing, hey, hey, little black dog, sweet
got me a little black dog.
A little black dog got me.
So now what? Now, okay, so but Cajun music is where your heart is. Why Cajun music? Just a past life thing?
Probably so.
Maybe. I grew up as French-speaking people on my mother's side, and French was French-Canadian. And it was a language that was always in my ear. But if you come from a family where they speak foreign languages, you know that they use that when they want to do adult talk. So they never talk to you because you know what they're saying. But I always had it in my ear, and when I first heard Cajun music, it was like, I like to play music, I like to dance, and it's French. So like,
Ooh la la.
Ooh la la.
Yeah.
Cha-cha.
Well, do you have what Cajun, play us a Cajun song. What Cajun song would you like to play us? Since it did have a story.
Actually, we just say if we get one of these for now, possibly one at the end, at your discretion.
Yes.
This one sort of has the bounce of the Cajun thing, and it's really stupid, like most of the songs. It's about going to a fair and you fall in love with somebody, and you're in love, and then you do something stupid. So that's not terribly stupid, but just, I guess if it has a song, it's one of our good friends. He always loved it, and this was the thing I play closest to Steve Riley.
Okay.
Hey.
Does it have a name, the song?
Point au Pin, which means pine point.
Pine point, like a pine tree.
Like pine tree and a point in the bayou.
Yeah.
Point in the bayou.
Pine trees in the bayou.
Okay, let's hear it.
La plus jolie, elle est le jour canaille. Mais dis pas vraiment que j'ai goûté ton bec. Mais dis pas vraiment que j'avais pas mon tête. C'est galop, mais pas la pointe de peine. C'est galop, mais pas la pointe de peine. Chère cousine, mais donnez-moi celle-là. Mais si c'est pas celle-là, mais j'avais pas du tout.
Okay.
And then there's Zydeco, and that's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing. Okay, we're not going to get into
I'll
Zydeco right
say,
now.
you don't have enough time to start getting into that.
To Zydeco.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for singing those songs. We're going to get Dan Mikowski up here and Caroline Duvoe to talk, and then we're going to get you all back up here towards the end to interact with us some more because we like it.
See what happens. Something's going to happen, and it could be good.
Thank you so much for coming. Dan Mikowski, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so Caroline and Dan, you all are the founders of?
Yes.
And it's abstract art for autism. And so give us a little bit about this.
You go first.
Well, we started painting with neurodiverse and other special abilities people, children to begin with, and then it grew into being anyone with any type of special challenge, physical or developmental. And we now work with about 150 different students over time, over the last 5 years, and we collect their artwork. We hold workshops, and they do painting along with clay, woodworking. We have a improv stage set up a lot of times, and the kids will do some acting classes right there live, and it's just a great happening. And a lot of these folks have not had a lot of opportunities, so it's a really good thing. And
What made you want to teach abstract art to, or?
Well, I became a self-taught abstract expressionist artist back in 1995, and Dan was there with me at the time, and I just kind of discovered that I enjoyed doing it, and then I left corporate America in 2009. When I decided I wanted to help people and not corporations, so I went back to school at Eckerd, got a degree in human development, worked at Park for 9 months, decided I loved that population, and I wanted to work with them. So when I graduated, I got a job in the school teaching abstract expressionist art and showing their artwork. And that was in 2014. And Dan and I have been doing this since then, working together to sell their artwork. And Dan's going to tell you a little bit more about the workshops and about the art openings. We just had an art opening last night. It was a huge success. It was probably the best attended one we've ever had. So.
And you're doing those now at the City of Imagination.
No, it's no longer called the City of Imagination. It is called the Gulfport Art Center. That's much better for people to Google. They can find it a lot easier because it relates to art and to Gulfport.
Sounds reasonable. All right, Dan, give us what goes on
Well,
there.
I want to give a little credit to Caroline to say she was the one that originally founded Abstract Art for Autism. She started doing that when she was teaching at Lift Academy, and after a few shows, she asked me to join in and help because it was becoming more than a one-person responsibility.
Right, and good for you for jumping in. What made you want to jump in? Was it because Caroline is so
Children.
sweet? Oh, children. I thought it was because Caroline is so sweet.
That too.
Family and children have always been at the top of my priority list, so
Right.
anytime I can help children, and in this case, the special needs community, anyone with some type of developmental or physical challenge, our doors are open to them.
Oh,
So it's anybody with any type, not just autism or anything like that.
and how would
So
they
if
get
they're
in
in a
touch with you?
wheelchair or if they have PTSD, it doesn't matter, we're there to help. The reason we chose abstract art is because anyone can do it.
Yeah.
And with most folks, and it's really fun to watch with the kids, you give them a few tools in the paint and a canvas, and you get them started, and once they get going and see what they can do, it's like pushing a child on a swing. Once you teach them to kick and get that swing going, they're off on their own. And with the majority of kids or adults that we get there, that's the way it works. Once we get them, show them how to do the painting, they're off on their own, and we have seen such wonderful works created by these kids. And the beautiful thing about their art is each picture has a story to tell behind it, because each picture is done by someone special. And as Caroline said, we also offer other activities at the workshops. I think our favorite is probably improv, especially with some of the older adolescents and teenagers that come to the workshops. They really seem to get into
So
the
do
improv.
you get into the improv yourself, or do you just stand back and only let them improv?
I'm kind of a gopher. Caroline is more or less managing the whole situation in the workshop. But what I do is I keep my eye open for someone who might be struggling, because Caroline can't get to every person. So if I see someone struggling, having a problem, I'll go and help them get going again and do their thing.
Yeah.
We had a little boy there once who was having a hard time, and we were doing woodworking, and I put together some planes, showed him how to put together some planes. And boy, that just made his day, and he's become very attached to our organization.
Yeah.
And we're very attached to him too. And he's one of our success stories. We have quite a few success stories of people we've seen where this ability to express themselves, be around others that have commonalities, has brought a lot of people out into the open where they were more or less kind of withdrawn.
And for the improv, we're working with Kids St. Pete Improv. It's Frank Ierna, his organization, and he's going to be actually having acting classes at the Gulfport Art Center every Monday evening starting June 3rd. And he's a wonderful volunteer. He comes out and the kids just love him. So, anyway.
And if you wanted to come to one of your classes, how do we do that?
Well, probably the best way to do it is to look us up, abstractartforautism.org, or follow us on Facebook under the same name, Abstract Art for Autism. And we always post all of our events, and if someone is having an event in the Gulfport Art Center, then we post that too. So we have all kinds of things going on there. We have yoga, we had Olga Cruz in the one-woman comedy show that was such a huge success, Miss Ida's Man in the Moon yard sale. It was hilarious, and they're coming back again in July too.
And why did you call it abstract art for autism, other than it's 3 A's in a row? If autism, because autism is a fairly specific word.
Well, abstract art once again goes back to the fact that anyone can do it.
Right.
So that's why we
But
use
why do you call
abstract
your
art.
organization Abstract Art for Autism if any disability is welcome?
Well, underneath that it says and other special abilities.
Okay, good.
So,
So.
but just not in our website name. But yes, we serve anyone with any type of physical or developmental challenge. We're open to it.
And I also want to give a shout out to the city of Gulfport, because they are the one sponsoring the building, or have donated the building for use for us on a permanent basis, so that our gallery is up all the time. And we are going to start opening that gallery on a more regular basis. And the city is working with us on that. And as Caroline mentioned, the center is available for any art-related event that you might have related to the arts. And we generally work real close with whoever is doing an event. It can be a percentage basis, it can be a donation basis. We're not looking to say that you have to pay this much if you're going to use the art center. We work very closely with people so that they can get their events in there and get things going in Gulfport in the art center.
We also sometimes exchange for volunteer hours. You know, if somebody wants to volunteer and they're struggling, trying to make a name for themselves and have some great art of whatever, music, theater, whatever it is. Yoga is an art, by the way. I looked it up.
Yay, the art of yoga.
So anyway, we definitely will work with anyone who's interested in using the building.
Okay, and what is the next fabulous thing you're going to do for yourself?
Well, we just sold our house.
Yay!
We wanted to have a place here in Pinellas County. We wanted to have basically a trailer on a private lot. We didn't want to be in a park. And we were hoping to get a place up in Land O'Lakes up there in Pasco County, which actually after the show here, we're going up there to look at a little lot. So we
So
would
then
have both.
you would drive back to Gulfport to do all this art for autism business.
Yes, that's why we would have the house here.
You're going to be commuters. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you're two. What do you
We
call
have
the people that?
two places that we live.
Congratulations! How wonderful. Okay, well. Well, I really, I thank you for doing this because I've been to many of your openings and it is so nice to see the young artists there. And people come in and buy the art like they like it. They want to take it home. And some of them are framed and some of them are just paper. And
Cello bags.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
really
Thank you.
appreciate Oh my goodness. Today is an amazing day. Lucy, will you join me on the stage? Listen. Here is Lucky Lucy Flute. How are you, Lucy?
Good, good. Oh, so I have to stuck you with this.
With the rose, would you like to? You can put it in the rose holder there. No, you like it. I know. Carroway&rose is here with us today, and I think the rose is a symbol of a mother's love, or a son's love for his mother.
That'll work.
And the beauty of a flute player. Do you want to play? You want to play the song with me? This train song. I think we're gonna play this train song. Okay, let's do this. This song is called "The Freight Train of Love." You know, sometimes you get hit by the freight train of love.
Upside the head.
Will not stop this train I'm on. I will not stop this train. I will not stop this train I'm on. It's a freight train of love. A freight train of love. The train pulled in, loaded, jumped on board. The freight train of love. The freight train of love. Friday night at the freight yard bar. I was gonna drink alone, but I didn't get far. You walked in, now here we are. Ride the train, ride the train, ride the train of love. Ride the train, ride the train, ride the train of love. We sat there for an hour or two. We talked about golf. We drank a bit and laughed a lot. And things sure got hot. Things sure got hot. Train pulled in, Lord, we jumped on board. Things sure got hot. Things sure got hot. The tracks were smooth and the seats were fine. Lord, they reclined. Lord, they reclined. Ooh, newfangled. I like it. All right, we're gonna have a little geography lesson. Are you ready? Gainesville, Waldo, Jacksonville, and then you cross the state line. Cross the state line. And do you know what I mean when I say you've crossed the state line? I feel a lot of nodding out there. Gainesville, Waldo, Jacksonville, you cross the state line. Cross the state line. Rocking in the motion, set it right. When we found the switch to the ceiling light, we made out the rest of the night. Ride the train, ride the train, ride the train of love. Ride the train, ride the train, ride the train of sometimes we get invited onto the Florida Folk Show on WMNF to sing, and Pete, as he should, being as how he runs the Florida Folk Show, he's always saying, "Well, can't you write a Florida song?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna write a Florida song," but then I'm like, "Florida," and I couldn't quite, But then I'm like, "Well, if I put the names of 3 Florida towns in there, that makes this a Florida song."
And those are actually Amtrak stops.
Precisely.
Ooh,
Yeah. I actually Googled it.
Research.
I need a two-syllable town along the train line. Waldo's and a lot of songs. The Wandering Hours have a song.
They did it last night.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, at the courtyard.
Yeah, there's a band called the Wandering Hours, and they have a song about getting speeding tickets in Waldo. I guess everybody knows that.
All right.
Lucy, well,
Always
thank
a
you.
pleasure.
Thanks for
And I'm
coming up
looking
here.
forward to playing again with you when you return from your tour in
Oh,
Virginia.
yes, I'm doing a little touring, but that's okay.
Yay.
All right, now, good news. Do we have any good news? Does anybody out there have some good news? I want to hear some good news. We're here. We have some good news in the front. Good news in the front.
I've just been enjoying the spirit of generosity that exists in Gulfport.
Oh, yeah.
There are so many people and organizations that this spirit of selflessness that people put out for others, and it's just fantastic.
And, you know, George, as long as you're speaking, George is a fine volunteer that works with the, what do we call it?
The Gulfport Community Garden.
There you go. And where are you located, George?
Preston Avenue, which is about 8 blocks directly south from here.
There you go. So, and if people want to find out more about this garden, how do they find out about it?
You could look up gulfportcommunitygarden.com. You could show up on a Saturday morning, 9 to 10:30. It's free and open to anybody who wants to participate.
I love it. Yay. All right. Yay. Anybody else have some good news they want to share? It is true that I tell you, we run this show, and every time there's people up here talking about these nonprofits that they started and things that, it is true that we have a lot of goodness in our town. G is for good. Good for Gulfport. Yay! All right, somebody else have some good news they'll share with us? That's it. No, I'll just nothing but happy. Is anybody happy?
Yeah.
Yay! All right. Let's get Carroway Rose up here. James Briggs of Carroway Rose. James. Oh yeah, always like. So, James, let's talk about the roses first.
Let's
we like
talk
the
about it.
roses.
Yeah, you
Let's
like
get
them?
on talk about roses.
Named the firm after him. Well, after my mother, of course. But,
Your mother's first name was Rose.
last name.
Last name was
Patricia Rose. Right.
Patricia Rose.
Patricia Rose. Right.
And so when you and your mother's not living, I don't.
She's not.
presume?
No, 10 years.
10 years gone, and but she's living on in you.
I'm trying
and
to.
her name
I'm
is
trying.
living on.
Thank you very
How
much.
nice of you to bring the roses
Sure,
in
of
for
course.
us to
Of
enjoy.
course. My pleasure.
And
So I can see you.
oh well, we have to talk
Oh,
to me. We have to talk to
right,
them.
right,
Oh, there we are. Okay.
Not used to the spotlight, so.
What are you used to?
I'm used to being really tired after Gulfport weekend. But good Gulfport weekend. We did some great things last night. A fundraiser for Sterling McGee, as you know, as you were there.
I was there. Sterling McGee, who's a blues singer.
He is
Name
a
of Satan.
fantastic documentary about Mr. Satan. Download him on iTunes, as he will request himself shortly in a video. But it was a great event. We had almost well over 150 people there. Did some nice things for the family. They had a great time, which was very important to us. And it was really our way of saying thank you to the community for welcoming our firm into the community with open arms, with my community partners, the Enroy Foundation. I knew I couldn't pull it off without them, so really they get most of the credit, but it was fantastic to be a part of that.
And so, what made you decide to open an ad firm?
Sure, creative arts agency.
Creative
Right.
Arts Agency. Okay.
You know, I had a lot of time to think. I was in a monastery for 6 months, and then after that I had a personal setback medically.
Okay, wait, stop.
Sure.
What sent you to the monastery?
Nothing so scandalous. I just needed to pause and reflect for a minute, as the tattoo says. So I spent 6 months there, and then when I got out, I had some medical problems. So I had a lot of time to think, and I thought, I've been incredibly fortunate. I thought maybe I could give back, help people fulfill some of their dreams, and fulfill some of the dreams my family had for me. It seemed like a win-win. See if I can help some people out.
And had you done this kind of work in the
I
past?
have. I worked for other agencies for about 20 years.
Right.
Right at 20 years. I didn't want to work for them anymore. So.
Right, because you learned a lot, I guess.
I did, yeah. I did.
What makes a what is it that you learned that's making your ad agency different, or no, creative?
Sure. We're small enough still where it's really a one-on-one interaction with our clients. Like with you, for instance, I'm over at your house a couple times a week. And I want to keep it that size. We have 8 staff between Charleston and Santa Fe, where our other offices are. There's myself here and a couple of people who help me with things, but I like to keep it on a one-on-one level.
And do you think that do you think the agencies that you worked in before would have been more fun had they been smaller?
I think so. And I'm not going to begrudge their success. They did
No.
really great work,
Right.
and made some real effects positively in society as well through a lot of their nonprofit work, which kind of inspired me. We're starting our own foundation to be able to pair those talents to help other people reach their dreams and to do that. Is something I learned from them, but I think they just not a victim of their own success. That was their business model.
Right,
They did really
right.
well with that. That's just not what our firm was. It's not the founding principles that we were founded on. But wish them
And-
well. We
Yes,
still
right,
work
oh,
with
right,
them
yeah, yes,
sometimes.
of course,
We love them.
yes.
Still do some work with them.
So, what if somebody were, what type of person do you want looking for your help?
We're really flexible. In Gulfport and in this region, we're working mostly with artists and with nonprofits. But in Charleston and Santa Fe, it's a little different client base. We have resorts and the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum is a client of ours. They don't need us on a day-to-day basis. They don't need that one-on-one interaction. But if you do, then they're welcome to give us a call, and we're able to keep overhead low, which keeps our prices a little bit lower and competitive. And we're also able to, because we're small, be a little more flexible in who we take on, and who we don't. We have a say in who we take on. With previous agencies, I was handed clients to work on, whether I wanted to work on them or not.
Right.
But my business partner and I have been very selective in who we work with, and we want to work with the right people, and we want to be the right people for them as well.
Right, so as long as it's the right people, you figure you can sell anything from
Um,
urban popsicles to,
I figure I can try, but
Right.
I can. We specialize mostly in the arts and,
Yeah.
And nonprofits in this region.
oh, that's good. And then you opened a non-profit.
We're launching a nonprofit next month, which is taking 11% of all of our earnings to donate to causes we care about. Arts funding for creative artists and performing artists, civil rights. We're about to announce a partnership with the Woodson Museum in St. Petersburg, which I think is going to be fantastic. The work they're doing. Jane Bunker's a community client. I think a lot of people know her. She raised over $60,000 in scholarship funds for the Woodson. So that type of selflessness and using your talents in that way. It doesn't always have to be a check. I've learned. I was actually speaking with Larry Enroy a while back, and I said my extent of fundraising has been writing a check. It's never been being a participant and being hands-on sort of. But I've found that when we use our talents as well as our checkbooks, it goes a lot further. It's more rewarding for everyone involved, I think. I hope that's our goal anyway.
Yeah. I know.
So yeah, we launch Noble Roses next month. 11% we'll have a fundraiser opening and have some art to auction and work with some great people like yourself and Caroline and Enroy and other community partners. I think it's going to be a success.
I think so too. Excellent. Do you have any tips you want to give somebody if you're looking to expand yourself? What do you do?
Just take a chance. When I left the monastery and I decided not to go back to agency work, I figured that the best bet I could make was on me. And whatever talents I had acquired to that point, they're probably lesser than some people's, but maybe they're higher than some's too. I thought that the best thing I can invest my time and resources on is betting on me and the things I care about and the values I have.
Hello.
So
Great idea.
I think, and it's working out well so far.
Okay, now where was this monastery? Back to this monastery. This
Sure.
monastery is interesting, don't we think?
Sure.
Where was this
It was in
monastery?
Abiquiu, New Mexico. It's called the Monastery of Christ in the Desert. It's a Catholic monastery.
And were you raised Catholic?
My father's Catholic, my mother's family's Protestant. The whole Irish divide.
Oh dear. So did you go to a Catholic church growing up?
I
Was your
did, yeah. I
father-
went by myself. I grew up with my mother and my stepfather. They're not Catholic, so I went to the Mass bounce.
And what made you decide that Catholic Mass was somebody you want to go out of your way to go
That
to?
wasn't really an option. My father's,
Your father
yeah.
was,
Yeah. And it worked for me. I tend to like the more formalized settings, an hour a week. I don't want to formalize, I don't want religion in my life more than that hour a week necessarily. I'm a very spiritual guy, but I don't want, I don't like the doctrine. I don't get locked into all that. But it's a good place to go and reflect and give thanks. I have a lot to be thankful for. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So your dad insisted that you go off and get a Catholic.
He did. He insisted that I was raised Catholic. My sister was raised Protestant. She's not practicing. And I, she's very spiritual like I am, but we're not
Right.
really defined by that dogma, fortunately.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never had to go to church growing up, but my best friend went to church, so I always wanted to go to church to be with my best friend.
That's a good enough reason.
I know,
As long
and
as you get in the
perhaps
door.
my soul has been saved.
Yeah.
I'm certainly hoping.
Well, I'm not in the soul saving business. They can't.
No, you're in the.
That's not on the list of capabilities
No.
on the website. So.
But as long as you're tending to your own, I
Right.
think that
Yeah.
helps.
I'm in a good
so much.
place. I feel
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yay.
it's great to
Thank
hear.
you
Thank you for having me.
for speaking about it. We're going to get the Gulfport Swamp Opera back up here to play some music for us. Yay! And as it turns out, not only are Larry and Maureen fine musicians that play and entertain us, they are also part, or I guess you all are the founders of the Enroy Foundation. And the Enroy Foundation, tell us a little bit about the Enroy Foundation before we get back to playing some music.
With me.
You get to start. We'll
Well,
see where we go.
our mission statement is committed to the visual and performing arts in the Tampa Bay area with an emphasis on collaborative, educational, and environmental issues. So it's a little broad, but so far main things we've done artist grants, we've been supporters of Art Jones, which is coming up again this December, so.
And Art Jones is a big tour around the city where different artists,
It's
there were, 12 or 13 of them last time, right?
yeah, I think there were as many as 17.
17!
Whoa.
And they open their studios, and you get a little passport, and you go around to all the different artist studios in town. It's really very...
And it's free, there's no charge. The artists, we hope that you'll be so motivated that you'll buy some of their artwork or commission them, even better. But we've been pleased to be involved with that for the past 2 years. And this year, the details are still falling out, but it's definitely going to happen. So that kind of thing, artist grants, and on the music side, we have house concerts, and anyway, do other things with supporting the performing arts as well.
And so people can find you at...
Well, right now at just on Facebook at Enroy Foundation Inc.
And that's E-N-R-O-Y, Enroy. What is the word Enroy?
Well, it's half of Larry's first name, last name, and the other half is half of my last name.
I am Enlow. She is Kilroy. Somebody said, why don't you call it Enroy? Made sense.
It sounds like it's something. The only thing is the spell checking always turns it into Enron.
Yeah. Oops.
We're not trying to be associated with it all.
Well, yeah, we're going to whitewash the Enron. They're going to be thinking Enroy instead.
That is right.
Yes. Yes, for Enroy. Do you have another little song you would like to sing?
Oh, we got umpteen. How much time do we got?
Well,
Let's
we
see,
got
what-
time for one more anyway.
We got one. Okay, if that was the case, should we make it Cajun or do some things? It is Sunday since we just had our religion
Yeah.
point. Sorry, we get everybody involved in
Yeah,
church.
let's have some church.
Let's
Bring
have
on
some
the
church. It's Sunday.
Bring on the church. We're not afraid of church.
We ain't afraid of church. We ain't afraid of no church.
We don't bite.
Let's see if I can get it first, and then I bet you'll know it, and we'll see if anybody wants to make their own verse, but sing along.
we know that you exist and you help artists and you have house concerts. What else can you tell me? Tell us something about like what drove you to have a foundation in the first place?
All right, Larry, take it.
We want to
Okay.
know about people.
Okay, we want to know about people. Yeah, you got some influential people here, including yourself. If ever, I tell you what. How about you? This Laura Shepherd here, a Gulfport tradition and treasure for many years. Okay. Well, it sort of began when Maureen had health problems. We had friends in Atlanta where we were from. They put on a dance benefit, kind of like last night for Mr. Sterling, and they raised like $10,000. I was like, wow. So I thought like that should go toward art and dance and music. So that's sort of where it started, the concept of it. And if you come by our house, you can see anytime you can see some of the art that was created from that. Okay. Well, let's see. Creative Play. If you go by Creative Play on 54th Street, look at the art up on top that Mr. Tom Pitson and Rose Caballas did. If you
So
go
you
by,
commissioned an artist to just make art to go on top of Creative Clay, which is also a
Creative Play.
Creative Play.
Play.
Oh,
54th Street here in Gulfport.
Right in Gulfport.
It's an alternative preschool.
Right. And
Nonprofit.
what made you think that they did an artist come up with the idea first, or did you look for an artist, or how did that come about, for example?
It actually came about because, I'll try to condense it. Kaya McMahon, I think she's going by now. She was out jogging, came by and liked the art on the side of the house. Said, I like the art on the side of the house. And she started talking and said, I'm just starting a preschool up on 54th Street, and you got this plain building, and I'd sort of like to have something on the side to sort of announce, like, we're here for children, we're here for something. Said, okay, we can make it happen, and got together with Tom Pitson and Rose Caballas, and they came up with what's on the side of the building.
So you went to an artist that you know is dependable, hardworking, very talented, and gave them a commission to put a piece of art that will be enjoyed by everyone in the community.
And to make sure everybody gets the other big one so far on the Gulfport Garage, Mr. Keith Stillwagon. We'll have another grand opening, but the Gulfport Garage is the other big mural that we've commissioned so far on the Gulfport Garage there.
And are you commissioning only from Gulfport artists, or primarily from Gulfport artists, or so far? But you're not limited.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay, because your whole
We can, but Gulfport is so full of great artists and things, which is something else I want to get in right quick. James there, he's lightning in a bottle. I think he's sort of coalescing all of this great energy that's been bubbling around Gulfport, and somehow or another he's coalescing it all into one thing that's making it happen. And Brenda McMahon's studio and all this, I don't know. I think.
So you think it's an exciting time in Gulfport? Are we about to trip to a different dimension? We're in a vortex.
Yes, we're about to create our own reality here.
That's the goal there.
That's the way. Well, and we have our first 3-story building. I don't know if any of that's connected.
We hate that, but it's got some good things.
I know. Why did I bring that up?
Yes.
Who's got the hook? Get that girl off the stage. Play us a song. Play us a song.
Okay, well, we need another Cajun song and do like scene.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
one verse, and then we'll decide if we're going to do a second verse.
And the second verse that Larry's going to sing in English is actually written by Jay and Molly Unger, who, if you ever saw the Ken Burns thing on the Civil War, the theme song for that, the Haunting Waltz, Ashokan Farewell, they wrote that too. So they do words as well as music.
Motloski Special.
Hey, demande-toi de voir, demande-moi, je vais tout le temps dans les misères, tout le temps après se faire, notre pôle à tes paroles de toi, la dame de ma belle.
Oh yeah! The tears are in my eyes, you know the reason why. You left me in a fog, you low down dirty dog. I can't believe the tears, I can't believe the fears. You stuck me like a hog, you low down dirty dog. Oh yeah!
It's a long lobster.
And you got to see the whole crawfish.
I know, there's a nice
The whole lobster, he turns into a lobster later.
lobster.
All
All right, we are getting towards the end of the Laura Shepherd Show. Nobody else has claimed this beautiful plant, so Larry Maureen, I would like to send you home with this lovely vine. It's got a
Yay.
great big root. It will be as big as that one in front of my house very shortly.
Yes.
And everyone in Gulfport will get to see it. We'll get a fence or a tree or something to climb on, so.
Because we like to give things away. Caroline and Dawn, I'd like to give you all some Laura Shepherd CDs. And so if you'll pass those back. We're all about giving, isn't that right? Now, I think that we could sing a Gulfport tradition song. We like to call
A
it
Laura Shepherd Gulfport Tradition
It's an
Original.
A. Yeah, it's 1451. Yeah. If you happen to know, you want to come up here, sing with us, Miss Beth.
Yeah.
We want to get Miss
Beth
Beth.
knows all the
Come on, Miss
words.
Beth.
Yeah, let's get the Hallelujah chorus.
All right, anybody else want to sing with Lucy?
Lucy,
Lucy. All right, anybody else always wish they were up here with us? Come on, can you see everybody?
Nope, we gotta squeeze in.
We got,
Here, Marie.
yes.
Can you get is Lucy in the picture?
No. Is there any way she could be in front? Yeah. This side, Lucy.
All right, ready?
Thank
All
you.
right. Now, you know what I always say, carry your troubles in a holy basket. When you get where you're going, they'll have fallen out, right? Don't jump freight trains when they roll by. Don't like the blues, I'll tell you why. Go downtown when I wanna smoke, and I'm treating life like a joke. Woo! Won't go sitting in my neighbor's yard. These throw my troubles out to sea. I don't wear black or need a heart attack, 'cause we can be happy just like that. Yeah! One thing about what could go wrong, I don't want to sing about it in a song, but I'll look at you and shake my head. Lord knows some people may be better off dead. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry the sunshine too. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine. Raise my vocals. Ready, go, shoot!
The kazoos.
The crow, did y'all hear that crow up there? He wants to get in the song. I don't see Saturn when I look at the stars, but I know it's out there and so is Mars. Don't think much about the evening news, and no, I do not sing the blues.
No.
I don't like ham, but I do like toast. I certainly don't care who you hate the most. I don't care how it's always been done. You could give in, but still have some. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through. Carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, carry my rain in a bushel basket, let the sunshine through. Let your sunshine through. All right, this has been the 19th Laura Shepherd Show. And thank you all so much. Please go to Patreon / Laura Shepherd Show and give us a little money. Leave some money in the tip jar on the way out. Support your favorite nonprofit. And you can listen to this as a podcast. And if you know somebody who has kids or wants some good news, please share our podcast with them, because it might be good for everyone. Bye.